Somewhere in Asia, your father prowls alone through dense forest. He scent marks trees. He avoids other tigers. Solitude is not loneliness for him, it is survival. Somewhere in Africa, your mother runs with her pride. She hunts in formation. She sleeps pressed against warm bodies. Community is not comfort for her. It is identity. These two animals share a planet. They share a genus, but their ranges never cross. Their worlds never touch until a human opens two gates, puts them in the same enclosure, and waits. That's how you begin. Not nature, not destiny. A decision made without you. You think you were the first attempt? In Alipur, India, a Bengal tiger named Munna and an African lioness named Muni were bred starting in 1964. What followed was 8 years of miscarriages, malformed cubs, small bodies that never opened their eyes, litters that didn't survive the first week. 8 years. Before anyone like you made it, there was a graveyard of attempts, and nobody stopped. Nobody asked if it was worth it. They kept going until finally, in October 1972, a healthy female Tigon named Rudranai was born. The program celebrated. The ones before her were a footnote. You are the success story built on a foundation of loss. But eventually, one attempt worked. One cub breathed. One set of eyes opened. Yours. And the world you woke up into was everything your instincts were never built for. There's no tall grass, no open savanna, no jungle canopy filtering warm light above you. There is a cage. You will spend the rest of your life trying to understand why your instincts tell you one thing and your walls tell you another. Your father's instincts say, find territory, patrol it, be alone. Your mother's instincts say, find your pride, stay close, trust the group. You are both, so you are neither. And the cage does not care which one wins. There is no jungle, no savanna, no dawn mist rolling over tall grass while you learn to hunt. There is a concrete floor, a keeper with a schedule, and feeding time at 9 a.m. This is your entire world, and it was chosen for you before you could walk. As the weeks pass, something else becomes clear. Not just where you are, but what you are. And your body, just like your instincts, can't quite decide either. Your coat settles into something that can't quite commit. A lion-colored base. Tawny, warm, but broken tiger stripes cut across it, uneven, like someone started a pattern and gave up halfway. Spots on the belly, a face that looks a little lion, a little tiger, mostly confused. You roar, and it comes out lion. Deep, resonant, but you feel tiger, solitary, guarded, on edge in crowds, and your size. Your cousin, the liger, born from the opposite cross, a male lion and a tigress, grows enormous, sometimes bigger than both parents. There's a genetic reason for this. When growth-promoting signals from the father go unchecked, you get a giant. But your father is the tiger, and in this cross, those signals are suppressed. You will not be enormous. You will not be record-breaking. You will be medium-sized. In a world that built you as a spectacle, you are not even a very impressive one. And that underwhelming size isn't just bad luck. It goes deeper than your coat, deeper than your roar, and all the way down to the very instructions your cells were built from. Here is a hard truth they don't put on the zoo placard. Your chromosomes, tiger and lion, are compatible enough to make you. Both species carry diploid chromosome number 2, N equals 38, which is part of why the pregnancy even worked. But compatible enough to exist is not the same as compatible enough to thrive. If you are male, you are almost certainly sterile. This follows something called Haldane's rule. In hybrid animals, the male is almost always the one who loses fertility first. Your body produces no viable path forward. No cubs, no legacy, nothing to pass on. If you are female, there is a slim chance. Some female Tigons have shown signs of fertility, but documented cases are scattered, poorly recorded, and rare enough that it barely counts as hope. Either way, your genetic story ends with you, not because you failed, because the math was never in your favor. You cannot reproduce, you cannot pass anything forward, which raises an uncomfortable question that nobody in that zoo ever has to answer, but you have to live inside. So what are you for? Not conservation. That answer is clear and it is brutal. You do not represent a wild population. You do not preserve tiger DNA or lion DNA in any meaningful way. You cannot be released. You cannot contribute to any recovery program. Scientists are plain about this. Tigons have no conservation value. Not science. At least not in any organized way. There is no global studbook for Tigons, no centralized health database, no standardized records. Your existence is scattered across zoo bulletins, circus archives, press clippings, and sometimes a museum shelf. So what are you really? You are a curiosity. You are the animal people photograph and caption, "Wait, this is real?" You are a marketing decision, and if you were born in a circus rather than a zoo, which has happened, you are also a performance. You were built for someone else's wonder. Nobody asked if that was enough for you. At some point, the world started to agree that animals like you should stop being made. India banned hybridization in accredited zoos outright. No crossing of different species, no exceptions. The United States passed the Big Cat Public Safety Act, covering hybrids of listed big cats, restricting private possession and breeding. The United Kingdom requires special licensing for hybrid big cats under dangerous animal frameworks. CITES, the International Wildlife Trade Treaty, as mandates that hybrids carrying endangered species lineage be treated as strictly as purebred animals. You did not break any law. You cannot break laws. You are an animal, but your existence is now, in many countries, something the law actively tries to prevent. The world looked at what you are and said, "This should not happen again." Nobody told you, but those laws came too late for you. You were already here, already growing, already living inside a story no legislation could rewrite. So the years passed, not in forests or savannas, but in enclosures, in rescue centers, in the quiet rhythm of captivity. And then, slowly you got old. Some Tigons make it to 20 years. A long life even by the standards of tigers or lions in captivity. So perhaps in this one way you beat the odds. But old age for a creature built from two genomes that were never designed to merge is not a graceful thing. One Tigon, 20 years old, rescued from a circus, living at a rescue center in Jaipur, developed a fibrosarcoma, a tumor on the skin, malignant, spreading inward to the organs. Surgeons operated, removed it, watched. It came back. His body, which had already spent 2 decades navigating the tension between two species, finally had nothing left to negotiate with. And one day, quietly, in that same enclosure, it was over. When you are gone, there is no pride that notices your absence, no territory that holds your scent, no cubs that carry a piece of you forward. If you are lucky, someone writes a case report. If you are very lucky, you become a taxidermy exhibit in a museum. Like Maud, a Tigon born at Dresden Zoo in 1932, whose preserved body now sits in the Manchester Museum. Most of the time, a line in a ledger, a photo in an archive, a footnote in a zoo's history that no one standardized, no one kept properly, no one will ever compile into a complete picture of what you were. You lived your entire life between two worlds, and you leave without belonging to either. The Tigon is not a monster. It is not a miracle. It is what happens when humans have the power to do something and never stop to ask whether they should. You were never given a choice. That was always the whole problem.